What up, what up, what up, New York Giant Nation? It's your boy, Mac the Giants fan, coming back in here with episode 5 of the Real Deal NFC East Roundup. And it was a tough week 3 for the teams of the NFC East, except for the Dallas Cowboys. All the other 3 teams, it was a brutal week for what is emphatically the worst division in football, man. What's going on, Joe? Good to see you, bro. Thanks for coming through, man. Appreciate it, man. But yeah, I'm just going to get right into it, man, because it's not even this was just such a bad week for not even just the Giants, just the division as a whole, basically, man. Had a had a pretty tough week. I'm doing good, man. Thanks for asking, brother, man. But yeah, it definitely was a tough week for this division, man. Except everybody had a rough week except for that team down in Dallas, man. We'll get to that in a few. But start off this week, man. Start getting to the Washington football team, travel to the Buffalo Bills this week, man. We're gonna get into that. Taylor Heineke, man, definitely did not look like the Taylor Heineke a couple weeks ago when he played the New York Football Giants. Taylor Heineke came down to earth this week against the Buffalo Bills. 14-24, 212 yards. He threw a couple touchdowns, but he also threw a couple of horrible picks, man. And he really just looked like the true backup quarterback that he is, man. It is what it is. I don't know. There's no other way to slice it, man. Taylor Heineke looked like a backup quarterback on Sunday against Buffalo. What's going on, Slay? It would be hilarious if we beat New Orleans, man. But I'll be getting to that in a little bit, Bobby, man. I'll be getting on to that later on. But it would be crazy if we find a way to win that game. But yeah, and got Antonio Gibson, man. He had a big receiving touchdown in this game, man. But he didn't really do much on the ground, man. 12 carries, 31 yards. And he still really hasn't gotten it going on the ground at all this season, man, for the Washington football team. Terry McLaurin also had a pretty quiet game considering what he did against the New York Giants, which was a monster performance a couple weeks ago. This week, he was pretty much non-existent. 4 catches, 62 yards. Scary Terry is still the man. However, don't get it twisted. Still got a lot of respect on that man's name. He just couldn't get it done on Sunday with his backup quarterback just not able to get the ball to him. And I think it's time to make a serious look at this Washington defense, man, because it's been praised all off season about being the absolute best in this division, not even close, and not even just that, one of the best in all of football. And it's definitely not one of the best in all of football right now. And to be honest, I'm not so sure. I'm not willing to even call it the best in this division at this point because, to be quite frank, the Eagles defense and the Cowboys defense are playing far superior football overall than the Washington football team defense has shown this season so far. I think it's time to realize that this defense may just be actually overrated, man. I mean, that D line is as amazing as it is. They did not get to Josh Allen once on Sunday. They didn't bring him down one time on Sunday. He was just sitting back there airing it out on their ass all game long. What's good, Reek? Yeah, it's I feel you, bro. I definitely feel you on that, man. It is bad. It is bad, man. But and still a lot of football left. I'm not as optimistic as I was, but at the same time, just seeing some weird stuff happen. So you never know, man. I'm never gonna give up on the season, man. But at the same time, man. I mean, I'm definitely a lot more calm about this than I was for instance, on Monday and on Sunday. But we're gonna get it back, man. I feel like we got a lot of football left to watch, man. So we'll see, man. But yeah, so I think it's time to really realize. I think this Washington defense is way overrated right now, man. And they need to just bring them down to reality. Everybody needs to stop calling this defense so great, so amazing. These edge rushers, yeah, Chase Young, they're players. They players, but at the same time, they're not doing the things that people expected them to do. You know what I mean? They have been very underwhelming thus far these first few games of the season. They didn't stop Daniel Jones either, to be quite frank. They got thrashed by Josh Allen on Sunday. They didn't really have an answer for Daniel Jones, and they didn't really have an answer for Justin Herbert either. So, what has this defense shown all season, all first three games? And not granted, two of those games have been against very highly respected quarterbacks in this league, and then the other one was against obviously Daniel Jones, who gets no respect in this league, even though he's off to probably his best start of his career. Not statistically necessarily, but just overall as far as playing good, clean, solid overall football, making better decisions than we have grown used to with Daniel Jones. But at the same time, man, this team, man, I called this was my the one I called the closest last week, man. I was almost right on the money, not with the score. The score was a little more lopsided than I thought it was going to be. But I called that. I said that Washington was going to go up there and get that ass whooped. And they went up there and got that ass whooped. I said Josh Allen was going to have his breakout game of the season so far. Josh Allen had his breakout game of the season so far, man, against what was supposed to be a defense that should not have allowed that to happen. So that's why I'm like, it's time to realize that defense may just be highly overrated, man. They have shown to be absolute garbage on the back end. And their pass rushes, quite frankly, has not gotten going. So as well as people expected it to. But I'm going to move on to the next game because this is I'm just gonna move on to the next game. Shit. I forgot to put the damn thing up, the ticker up for the Washington and Bills game. My bad, y'all. Not that it really matters that much, but still. Try to keep some consistency on here while I'm doing this. But next we're gonna move on to Monday night. Monday night's debacle down in Dallas, man. Like I said, only one NFC East team looked good this week. And here we go. I gotta sit here and give it up to the Dallas Cowboys on Monday night, prime time. All eyes looking. They absolutely destroyed the Philadelphia Eagles. Honestly, the final score does not even indicate how lopsided this game was. And the final score is pretty damn lopsided anyway. And yet it could have been far more lopsided than this. Final score is 41-21, but let's face it, man. The Eagles got flat out outplayed in every aspect of this game right from the beginning, man. Jalen Hurts. Oh no, bro! Your final numbers was 25 of 39, 326 yards, 2 touchdowns, and those 2 horrendous picks. However, man, those yards was mostly in garbage time, bro. Through the earlier parts of the game, you were not getting much. Jalen Hurts was not getting much done. This was by far his worst game so far to start this season off. And he, quite frankly, in this game looked a lot like the Jalen Hurts I expected him to look like, man. Through the summer, I was very critical of this kid. And to be quite frank, he looked like the guy I thought he was going to be in this particular game. With that being said, the book's not all the way written on Jalen Hurts, and he still overall for this season is off to a better start than I expected. So I'm not really to just I'm not ready to I'm not going to sit here and just trash this kid because he had a pretty bad game on Monday night. You know what I mean? I'm not going to do that yet because he started the season with 2 pretty decent ones. Started the season with a very good one against Atlanta, and then he had a pretty decent game against San Fran as well, even though his team came up short and couldn't really score points. It was kind of like almost watching a Daniel Jones performance where we just can't seem to score points. But last week, on Monday night, he looked really bad, man, on Monday night. And most of his yards where, he's over 300, people say he threw for over 300 yards. No, that was mostly garbage time. That last touchdown for them to even have the 21 points, that was a total garbage time touchdown. At that point, the Cowboys were barely even playing defense anymore. I mean, the Eagles, and another thing with the Eagles, but did not do Jalen Hurts any favors. And this is something really strange about this game, man. It's questionable coaching decision, man, here. But they only ran the ball 12 times in the game. and 9 of those carries were by Jalen Hurts. That's not going to help your young quarterback out, especially when you got a stud running back in the backfield named Miles Sanders and a pretty solid backup in Kenny Gainwell, young backup in Kenny Gainwell that has already demonstrated an ability to make plays. I just don't understand how you only give the ball between those two guys 3 times. 3 times between those two that they ran the ball. That was weird to me. Miles Sanders is the truth. He is absolutely. He's legit. He's definitely one of the upper end better running backs in the league. And he can't be just having 2 carries. It got out of hand eventually, but early, what's the reason for him not getting the ball early? Getting the call earlier in the game before the game was completely out of hand. Because at one point when the Eagles had scored their second touchdown, I honestly thought for a second that they were about to get right back in this game. I just had this weird feeling. I've seen Eagles football all my life. Living in the area, like I've mentioned before. I've seen how resilient this team has been over the years, man. I thought they were going to get back in the game at that point. But then it got away from them again. However, it did get away from them again. But their defense did manage to get the Dak 4 times with 4 sacks on with 4 sacks on the day, man. But yeah, they look bad. They look like the team that most experts predict them to be this season, as opposed to the team they look like the first couple of weeks. With that being said, I still believe they are a better football team than us currently right now, no matter what, because that's how bad we've looked as the New York Giants have looked so far these first few weeks of the season, and we'll be getting to that in a few minutes. But Dak, man, was once again another rock solid performance by Dak Prescott, man. 21-26, 238 yards, and 3 touchdown passes, man. And Zeke finally made his debut for this season, man. He finally had a good Zeke performance. 17 carries, 95 yards, and 2 touchdowns, man. Zeke was looking really good in this game, man. Reasserting himself as the starting running back for the Dallas Cowboys. Defense once again proven to be opportunistic. Got 2 more picks, including 1 pick 6 by Trayvon Diggs, which is a big sensational play, which really kind of was what helped turn this game and started maybe putting the avalanche effect on this game with the Cowboys. But Eagles did score 1 defensive touchdown, man. And that's also another thing to put into consideration that how anemic their offense was in this game. One of their touchdowns was early in the game Dak fumbled the ball in the end zone and they just pounced on it, recovered it for the touchdown. So put that in a little perspective, man. Eagles offense was really anemic in this game. It just really wasn't that good. So I'm going to get ready to move on to the next game, man, because obviously we're going to have a lot to say about this one. Because we know what the next game is. And that would be the Atlanta Falcons coming to visit the New York Giants on Eli Manning Day. All the New York Giants would do was do the exact same nonsense they've been doing the first couple weeks of the season, make the same boneheaded mistakes, and get embarrassed and lose on Eli Day to the Atlanta Falcons, who was, quite frankly, before this game, was looking like potentially the worst team in the NFL. But now they can at least say, we're better than the Giants. Embarrassing. MetLife Stadium. Stadium was packed. Stadium was fired up. Too bad the team wasn't. Once again, Daniel Jones. He had another solid performance, man. Another solid performance, but he still can't seem to find the end zone in this anemic Jason Garrett offense. And it's an anemic offense. It just is. Like I said, we know we lost Slayton. We lost Shepard in this game on the offensive side of the ball. But at the same time, once they went down, it was like as if the other guys don't know any of the plays or something, because you just started doing the most basic, rudimentary bullshit and just wasn't getting it done. This team fascinates me, this offense, because we moved the ball so well between the 20s. So well, almost as good as anybody between the 20s. Get to the red zone, and all of a sudden, we got to get boneheaded false start penalties and boneheaded holding penalties. The center want to be snapping the ball over the quarterback's head and all kinds of craziness, man. And then all of a sudden, we're either out of field goal range or barely still in field goal range. Either way, we ain't scoring touchdowns. What's this team got? About 5 touchdowns on the whole damn season? Collectively? As a team? There are individual players who have more touchdowns than that. Mostly quarterbacks, obviously, having more touchdown passes, obviously. I don't know if any other player outside of a quarterback has more than 5 touchdowns, but still, I seriously doubt that. But still, at the same time, you know what I mean? This is ridiculous, man. This team is absolutely pathetic. Barkley, man, he's still not where he need to be, man. But it's been a slow, you know what I mean, incline each week so far. What's going on, Deception? Good to see you, bro. It's been a slow, you know, incline each week, man. This week was definitely his best game, even though obviously wasn't super great still. But he did have over 100 all-purpose yards for the first time this season. 16 carries for 51 yards on the ground, and he's got in the end zone for the first time. I'm still optimistic that Barkley can get back to form, man. I mean, he is showing small progressions and signs of getting back to form, but he's also, you can still tell he's also not quite where he once was, man. What's up, Zion? Good to see you, bro. But yeah, so I just want to. So Galladay, man, also, I don't understand. Once again, I'm just baffled by the fact that we spent all this money on this man in the off season, and we just won't find ways to get him the football in any kind of way. Once again, just four more catches for Galladay, 64 yards, man. He only had 5 targets. Why does Kenny Galladay only have 5 targets when he is our number 1 wide receiver and our other number 2 and number 3 wide receiver both got injured, and Kenny Galladay still only had 5 targets? Come on, man. We got to do better. And I don't know if that's so much on but that's probably a combination of Jones and the scheme, because you just got to be able to find your top guy, man. Yeah, thanks, Zion, man. Because I agree. I mean, he's just making too much money to not use him better, man. We got to use this guy a lot better than we have been. We got to figure out ways. And like I said, Kadarius Toney also, man. Joe Judge apparently is going on a record now saying that we plans on getting Kadarius Toney more involved. Well, it shouldn't have took till week 4, man, to figure that out. He only touched the ball a couple of times last week, but when he did, he showed some sparks of something that could be potentially special. So we got to figure out ways to get that ball in his hand a lot more too, man. Because it's getting ridiculous out there, man. We just doing playing crazy, man. Azeez Ojulari, so far, bro, he's on pace to have like 17 sacks so far, with a sack in each of the first 3 games. We'll see how that pans out for the young man. But he's been probably about the only damn thing of any consistency on the defense, and it's not even like, honestly, that he's playing super lights out. He's made this week the sack was a strip sack, so that was pretty impressive. You know what I mean? Probably out of it so far is probably his best looking sack, as far as like him really just beating somebody around the edge and making a big disruptive play in the backfield. However, man, this defense is just it's just bad, man. Like they played their best game, only allowing 17 points. However, they still cannot get it done when it matters most, man. Getting down in them final 2 minutes of the game, and Atlanta still got to drive down the field and get in position to kick a game-winning field goal. And just like last week against Washington, you just let it happen. the greatest of ease, like a hot knife through butter, baby. Just like no issue, no resistance, just right downfield, and get right in the field position, run the clock out, kick the field goal, game over, 17-14 Atlanta on Eli Day. And let me tell you something, man. That's not going to get it done. That's not going to get it done ever. This defense better stand up and start looking like the defense they were supposed to be. Because right now, we're probably the worst defense in the division right now. Probably the absolute worst one in the division. And that's saying something, because I don't think it's very good defensive play in the division at all overall, especially not these first few weeks of the season. And we're the worst of that. So Bradbury, once again, struggling a little bit. I just don't understand what's going on with him. I just don't know if it's the scheme. I don't get it. But after this performance on Sunday, I was ready to jump jumping off the ledge. I was just straight, like, I wanted to tear everything down. I wanted everybody going, fire everybody. I wanted everybody out of here. I've calmed down a little bit, come to my senses a little bit. I know it's not as simple as just trashing the place and getting rid of everybody. At the same time, man, I got to see something better, man. Because even though Garrett's system is what it is, still got to show some kind of ability to execute it, man. Got to show some ability to execute it. That is a very good point, Deception. Very, very good point, man. Our coaching staff is like trapped in the 80s and 90s, man. It's like they don't have a clue. This is the 21st century, and teams don't run offenses this basic anymore. Which is potentially why I've been hearing little rumors about the locker room maybe getting divided a little bit. Some players just don't believe in the scheme at all. You know what I mean? And I can understand that, because you look around, they got eyes. Their eyes work too. Everybody's vision works. Nobody's blind on this team. You can see what other teams and other coaches are doing. They can see other playmakers still being able to make plays. We got good playmakers on this team, but they are not being set up properly to make things happen. I mean, how many deep shots have we taken to Kenny Galladay this season? How many? Not nearly enough. I feel like I can only remember like one, to be honest, that I can even remember. One shot. Kadarius Toney. Was he just out on the field to be some kind of weird decoy? It's crazy, man. And that might be right too, Zion, because I think I remember one, but I could be mistaken with that. And maybe it was somebody else. I don't even know. But it's just, I know we're not seeing it. I'm not seeing it at all. So this team is frustrating to me right now, man. And I'm going to move on. I'm going to move on to next week's action, man. Because I don't know how much more I can keep talking about this debacle that happened on Sunday on Eli Day, man. Because I still feel like we disgraced Eli. We disgraced his organization with that loss, man. There's no excuse for that, man. To lose the same way in back-to-back weeks on a game-winning field goal in which all our defense had to do was stop these cats. Get a stop. Get a stop in a crucial situation, and you couldn't do it. Haven't been able to do it all week, all season. I mean, Denver just pretty much flat out trashed us. So that was different scenario in that game. They just pretty much just flat out trashed us. But the Washington game, this Atlanta game, come on, defense. You got to show some ability to show some kind of resistance and make a stop when it matters. Adoree Jackson dropped an interception that was right in his hands that could have pretty much ended the game. Could have pretty much ended the game if he would have just caught it. That's what I'm talking about. You got to take advantage of the opportunities presented to you, man. These are the guys that we brought in to supposedly help improve us. Come on, man. You got to do better, man. Got to do better. We're gonna get into this week's action, man. Start some predictions for this week's action, man. And this week we got start off with the Washington football team traveling down to the Atlanta Falcons. Two pretty right now bad football teams on the early part of this season, man. I don't even know. I mean, Washington's got a couple. It's like a couple point favorite in this one right now, but I don't. This is going to be an ugly game. Ugly game between two bad football teams. And I don't even know where to start with this one, man. Taylor Heineke will probably have an ability to have a game more like he did against the New York Giants a couple weeks ago. I would like to think against this Atlanta defense, he'll have a little easier time than he did with the Buffalo defense. So I think he should be poised to have another pretty good day, man. And I actually look for this game for the Washington to get Antonio Gibson going in this one, man. I think he'll have probably have his best running performance of the season as well, man. Still not sold with this Washington defense, though. They gotta show me that they are who people have labeled them as. And because Matt Ryan, he's still, like I said, a savvy vet that can move the football, man. And he's got a couple weapons that he knows how to use. And Kyle Pitts still hasn't had that breakout game. It's gonna happen eventually. Will it be this week against Washington? Maybe. I kind of hope it is. Not so sure it will be, but I kind of hope it is, man. And just for like an early score prediction for this game, man, Matt Ryan plays really good at home usually in the dome. But I really don't believe in this Atlanta Falcon team. We just let them off the hook last week. I mean, they still only managed 17 points against us. So I give Washington a little edge in this game. I think Washington can win a nail biter. Pull this one off, say 20-10, maybe. No, check that. I said no. 20 to say like 20 to make something obscure, like 18. Say like 20-18. But I think they'll pull it off, man. Just a little nail biter, man. It's gonna be probably pretty ugly game. Not gonna probably be a fun game to watch, man. To be honest, man. Because like I said, we're talking about two teams that right now are bottom feeders in the league. They're not, neither one of them are the worst team, but they're definitely in that 20-32 range. More like 25-32 range, I should say. Two very bad teams so far in the early start of this season. I mean, Washington got a 40-burger put up on them on Sunday. Deception, man. That is a point that I was talking about with a friend of mine a couple of days ago, man. I hate to say it too, man. I didn't think he was going to be that guy, but it does look that way, man. In these first few games, he did get a sack on Sunday, but still, man, it almost seems like he has kind of just. I mean, I know he's getting a lot of attention, also though, so it's hard to really tell if he's like not invested as much like he was last year. Like Ashley was hungry for a contract, but this year, I don't know. He is getting maybe a lot of more attention on blocking, paying attention to him in the interior, because obviously nobody's really scared of our outside edge rushers. So I don't know if it's a little bit of a combination of that, but at the same time, I was talking to a buddy about that and thinking the same thing. Like, I don't know. He seems like he's a little checked out, man. Hope I'm wrong about that, man. Atlanta, Washington is a mess as well. Kansas City all day over Philadelphia. Carolina over Dallas. In the week we all ruled them out. The Giants will win. I don't know how, but they will win. Hope you're right about that, Zion, man. Hope you're right about that, bro. Because we definitely need it. And we need everything else you just said. We need that to happen too, man. We definitely need all that to happen as well, man. We'll see how it goes, man. But yeah, I'm gonna get ready to move on from this one too, because this is an ugly game. I think this is gonna be an ugly game. I don't have much thoughts on it, man. This one, however, would have been a much more exciting game to look forward to if CMC was not injured, man. I would have been looking so forward to this game because I think it has so This game, man, you talking about the Carolina defense that has absolutely been lights out this season, going against a Cowboy offense that has also been absolutely lights out so far this season. This would have been a fun one if CMC was not injured, man. But I mean, you can still get that same dynamic with Carolina's defense against Cowboys offense, but Carolina will be a little more limited offensively without their absolute best player, man. Like it just is what it is. They're going to be a little more limited, and they probably are going to have a hard time keeping up with the Cowboys offense in this one, man. But their defense is so legit that they may be able to slow that offense down enough to still make something happen in this game, man. So I'm thinking this is gonna be this is gonna be fun. I mean, I want to see. This will be the best. I feel like the best defense Dak is going up against so far this season, man. And this will be this will be a real stiff test for him, man. But he is at home in Dallas, safe, friendly environment for him. You know what I mean? But at the same time, none of that really means nothing. That home road, to me, I'm never one of those guys that thinks that means a whole lot because these guys are all NFL players. They've all played in hostile environments throughout their careers, whether it be in NFL, whether it be in college. You know what I mean? They're all so it's just it gives you a little bit of edge being at home, but at the same time, professionals are professionals. I don't really put as much stock on that as other people do. But I think this is going to be a fun one. I think we're going to have a high scoring affair here. I think both teams are going to play up into the 30s, legit. Because Sam Darnold, man, something about this kid, man. He had those first few years with the Jets, man, who just absolutely ruined this kid, man. Did everything they could to ruin this kid. And he is now looking like the quarterback that was selected number 3 overall in the 2018 draft. He's looking like that guy now, man. He really is, man. Him and DJ Moore got something special brewing. They got something special brewing. They have been a rock solid combination to start this season off, man. And I know because I got DJ Moore on like 2 of my fantasy teams, and he has been absolutely killing it for me. So yeah. Sam Darnold, man, props to him, man. Salute Sam Darnold, man, for shaking all that stink from the New York Jets off, man, and going out there and doing and having fun. You're feeling good about yourself, and you're doing what everybody thought you could do when you came out of USC, man. So props to Sam Darnold too. Like I said, it sucks that you don't have your all pro running back in the backfield for this game, man, especially against this Cowboy team. But I still think you guys are going to hang in there. But I honestly, if I got to be honest with myself, I think the Cowboys will find a way to edge them out, man, in this one. And I'm thinking it's going to be like a 34-30 game type of game, man. I think it could be one of those kind of games because I think Carolina will still find ways to score points on this team because Dallas' defense, like I said, they've been very opportunistic, but yet at the same time, you can still move the ball on them. You just got to make good decisions and good choices because they have been turning the ball over quite a bit. They may even lead the league in turnovers, honestly. I mean, and forced turnovers right now. Honestly, I'm not 100% sure on that, but if they're not leading the league in that category, they've got to be in the top 2 or 3 in that category because Cowboys team, I believe, I'm not mistaken, they've gotten multiple turnovers every game this season, man. So they're definitely getting it done when it comes to that. So like I said, I think it'll be about 34-30 this game here, man. So we're going to move on to the next one. And that next one will be the Kansas City Chiefs traveling to the Philadelphia Eagles. Sucks to be the Philadelphia Eagles this week. Both these teams are coming off of 2 straight losses, which doesn't sound so abnormal for the Eagles, but it sounds very abnormal for the Kansas City Chiefs. And guess what? This is what the doctor ordered for the Kansas City Chiefs, man, because they are probably. I can't even see any scenario in which they don't go into Philly and absolutely tear the Eagles a new asshole, yo. You're talking about. I mean, yeah, the Eagles are sure the Eagles are going to be upset that they lost the last 2 games in a row. But the point blank in the period is they are not even in the same stratosphere as the Kansas City Chiefs. Not even in the same. So even though KC has lost the last couple games as well, it's still not even close. They've lost heartbreakers, whereas the Eagles just got absolutely demolished on Monday night. So this Kansas City team, Patrick Mahomes especially, because he hasn't looked his best, his sharpest the last couple of weeks either. Not even though he's been looking very good. He's Patrick Mahomes after all. They gonna come to town, and I'm telling you, man, they gonna bust them Eagles ass, and it's nothing that can convince me otherwise, man. This is gonna be probably the most lopsided affair of the week. And I know you're at home, Philly, but like I just said, to me, that don't mean nothing. Kansas City is going to come over there, coming off of 2 straight losses. They are playing a team. I'm not even going to really call y'all a really bad team because you've been a lot better than I expected so far this season. Showing me a lot more, Eagles. If I can only admit the truth, you have been a lot better than I expected you to be. But Kansas City Chiefs are just something, a total different animal, man. I can't imagine them not coming in there and just blowing the doors off of you, man. So I honestly, if I'm picking a score for this game, man, it's gonna be unfortunately, man, it's gonna be it's gonna be. I think Kansas City is dialed up another 40 burger on the Eagles, bro. For sure. I think they're definitely throwing up at least another 40 plus on the Eagles, man. And I usually don't predict scores like this too often, but I think they're gonna beat the Eagles, man. I'm gonna say go 44. I'm gonna say the Eagles might be able to squander about a good 17 points, man. I think it's just gonna be that kind of a lopsided affair. I think what's gonna happen is Kansas City's gonna kick their ass early, and Jalen Hurts is gonna be trying to do way too much, and then they're gonna force him to make mistakes, man. I just see it playing out exactly like that. I mean, last week I questioned the Eagles for not running the football more last week, but this week they may not be able to because they may not have the time to run the football and still try to keep up with Kansas City. I mean, I'll be impressed if this game plays out any differently than what I just said, man. I just can't imagine that a pissed off, angry Kansas City team coming off of 2 straight losses goes into Philly and does anything less than blow them the fuck out. Yeah, Kansas City saying let's clean it up against the Eagles. Just the fact that they're even talking like that and coming into this game with that kind of mentality, that already tells you everything, man. Zion, man, that tells you everything right there. It's going to be a tough week to be an Eagle fan. Yo. I mean, that's just that's not me throwing shade. That's not me hating. Like I said in the top of my show, I still believe the Eagles right now are currently a better football team than my New York Giants. I'm not hating to that level, man. I'm just saying I'm keeping it all the way real. That Eagles got a tough stretch ahead of them, man. We Giants do too, but the Eagles got an even tougher stretch ahead of them right now. And it starts off with this Kansas City Chief team. Good luck, Eagles. Good luck, because you're going to need all the luck you can get. But hey, maybe you might go out there and surprise me. But like I said, right now, I think Kansas City blows the doors off of you completely, 44-17. I feel like they are going to give up 40 points for the second week in a row. And now, the time we always wait for, man. It's time to get to the show. As our New York Football Giants will be traveling down to New Orleans to play the Saints. And I'm going to be frank, we don't play the Saints every year. Obviously, not a division team, but we play them like once every 3 years. So, we've got a little history with the Saints, and I can remember some of our last few matchups. And be quite frank, usually when we go to New Orleans, we don't usually get the job done down in New Orleans. Now, usually when they come up here to MetLife, it's the same thing for them. They usually don't get the job done. So this is one of those kind of games where it's between two teams where usually the home team usually holds serve. And Giants have shown me nothing that makes me feel any different that's going to happen. Anything's going to happen any differently there either, man. I just don't have the confidence right now that this team can beat anybody that's left on our schedule, to be quite frank. That's just right now. After what they've shown me the first 3 weeks, I don't know where the win is coming from, and I just honestly don't see it coming right here in this spot. A couple of things can happen, can go right for us in this game. We could get bad Jameis Winston. That will help the Giants considerably. If we get bad Jameis Winston, that could help the Giants considerably. But it's going to take that. They don't have the most prolific of wide receiving core either. So, matter of fact, probably, yeah, honestly, this is probably the weakest group of receivers we probably faced so far this season overall. I mean, they have a bunch of okay guys. They don't have any necessarily stud right now with Michael Thomas being out of the lineup. I mean, they do got Alvin Kamara, who is the ultimate weapon, however, and he's going to be the biggest problem we have to worry about on this offense, man. And honestly, the way our defense has been playing, I think he's probably salivating, waiting for the opportunity to swing out there in the flat and be wide open and probably just catch passes and just take them wherever he wants to go with them, man. Because that's the way our defense has been playing, to be quite frank, man. Better not be allowing Alvin Kamara to leak out the backfield and make plays in the passing game, man. You better clamp down on that at least, if nothing else, defense. But like I said, you get bad Jameis Winston, we got a chance, because that guy, when he's bad, he's bad. Like, real bad. I feel like the last time he's played a game against the New York Giants, as a matter of fact, when he was on the Buccaneers, he played so poorly, he got benched in that game against the Giants. It was a few years ago. But I remember him playing so poorly, he got benched in that game. So, excuse me. I'll take that back. He was playing so poorly that season that he had already been benched. Fitzpatrick was actually their starting quarterback. He played so poorly that they brought Winston in, and then all Winston did was come in and play equally as poorly. That's how it played out that game. I'm sorry, now that I remember that. But these New Orleans, New York Giants games, they've been some fun games over the years, actually, too, man. Remember back in 2015, man, when we went down to New Orleans, Eli, man, and Eli had probably his best statistical day ever. Yeah, man, probably it was his best statistical day ever. When he threw, I believe it was 6 touchdown passes. You know what the problem was in that game, though? Is that Drew Brees threw 7 touchdown passes. That was the problem in that game. Is that Eli goes out there and threw 6 touchdown passes. You would think, Giants had to won that game. Because all Drew Brees did was throw 7 touchdown passes in the same damn game. An absolute crazy, one of the craziest shootouts I've ever seen. And then also a few years prior to that, up here in MetLife, man, the Giants absolutely blew the doors off of New Orleans, man. Just trashed them. David Wilson had his only probably really, truly great game as a New York Giant that day, man. And I think the Giants, if I'm not mistaken, we threw up 50 points that day against New Orleans, if I'm not mistaken. However, those games were in the past. And this is nowhere near the same New York Giants team that played in any of those games, man. Either one of those games. And I honestly, I'm sorry, man. I love my team. I love the New York Football Giants all the way to the end. True blue. But until you prove otherwise, I can't consciously pick you to win this football game. I'm not saying we're going to go down there and get absolutely trashed because, like I said, Winston has still, to me, can be that guy that can just really cost his football team a game at the drop of a hat. However, I can't pick us to go down to New Orleans and get a W, man. Not with a clear conscience, I can't. I would be a complete homer if I did that. I want to see it happen. I hope they prove me wrong. But right now, I see us going down probably like, I say a score like maybe 27 to 20. Figure we go down there and lose by a score, man. I just can't, with a clear conscience, predict us to win this football game. Just can't happen. I can't do it. We have not played up to par at all. So I honestly believe the only team in this league right now that we might be a little bit better than is maybe the New York Jets. And I'm not even willing to say we're better than them, even though we might be a little better than them. That might, but they're not on our schedule. So, like I said, I don't see a W right now on our schedule. I'm pretty sure with the New York Giants, we're not going to go 0-17. With that being said, I just don't know where a W's coming from, and I can't pick it to come this week. I just don't see that happening. Just from, like I said, from a historic standpoint, we have not traveled well down in New Orleans. I don't even remember the last time we won a game in New Orleans. The last few that I can remember us playing down there, we always lose in New Orleans. So I just can't pick us to go down there and win this one either. Like I said, prove me wrong because I love y'all. So prove me wrong, but I just don't see it happening, man. True blue all the way, man, but we have been a very bad football team, man. Granted, there are a few other 0-3 teams other than us and the Jets, but I think us and the Jets have been the absolute worst of those 0-3 football teams. Jacksonville has been fairly competitive through their games. They just keep, they got a young quarterback who's learning still. But in a couple who I can't even remember right now offhand who else is 0-3, top of my head right now. But yeah, it's just it hasn't been spectacular, man. It hasn't been a fun time to be a New York Giant fan. This sucks. I mean, from somebody like me, especially because, like I said, anybody in my age range, especially, can feel me a lot more. Some of you younger guys, unfortunately, haven't seen a whole lot more other than mostly the misery. But for me, man, I saw so much greatness, man, over the years, man, and this is just so bad right now. Like, no team should take 10 years to rebuild. No respectable franchise should anyway. And that's where we at with this, man, because people can say it's not a 10-year. We went to the playoffs in 2016. We rented a team in 2016. We rented a defense. We had a pretty good year. We went 11-5, I believe, or something like that. And we did. We made the playoffs. We rented that. And then we squandered that opportunity. When we got to the playoffs, wasted a great game by Eli Manning. Another great playoff performance by Eli Manning was wasted because our receivers' heads clearly weren't in the game because they wanted to be out partying all week on some damn boat, taking posts and taking pictures and shit. I don't want to talk about all that because that's gone, that's done, that's in the past. None of those players even on the team except for Sterling Shepard. He's the only one that's even on the team still from when that happened. So at the same time, this team, man, it's got to get better, man. Because this is painful to watch as a New York Giant fan. As a New York Giant loyalist, this is painful to watch, man. And it's got to improve. It's got to improve. It's just no excuse for this to take this long to get this right. That's why I was so emphatic on my Monday rant that I did, my little Monday rant video that I did on Monday. I was emphatic about just burning this shit down because the stink is so bad that you can't even pinpoint where the problem is to fix it. So it just needs to all be torn back down and rebuilt from the foundation and rebuild it the right way because everything is wrong right now. So yeah, you're right, Zion, man. Usually when people count the Giants out is when we usually show up. I mean, best case scenario is Barkley just finally, because he's been looking like he's really ready to show people that he can still play at a high level. Maybe he shows up and just does something really special and magical and can carry us to a W. Daniel Jones can continue to play good, clean football. You never know what can happen. But the offense, quite frankly, got to be opened up, man. But yeah, the Lions are definitely one of those little sneaky good teams, man. Playing some really good, solid football right now, man. Even though their record doesn't indicate it, they've played some really, really, really decent football, man. And like they're 0-3. That's another 0-3 team. To me, they are by far the best 0-3 football team in this league right now. And I know that sounds kind of weird talking about 0-3 football teams, but they're definitely by far the best of the 0-3s. They're better than some of the 1-2 teams, for instance. You know what I mean? Like right now, I don't think Washington will beat the Lions, not the way the Lions have been playing. But the Washington's 1-2 because they played us. Realistically, I mean, let's keep that real. Or they'd be 0-3 too, probably. Our defense looks like a bunch of guys. Our defense looks like a bunch of guys who are afraid to get their uniform dirty. There you go, deception. Right on the money with that, man. I was like they scared to hit. Because once again, in this game, tackling was still up, not at the snub either. Once again, there was still some pretty poor tackling going on in this game. And we're just not hitting and driving through people, man. So I don't really know what to say, man. I want to about to wrap this up in a few, man. I want to thank everybody, man, showing up, showing me love in the chat, man. Zion, sub to Zion, man. Shout out if you haven't to his channel, man. Joseph Balby, man. You can drop them links if y'all want to. One of y'all, Joseph, you want to drop the links in the chat for everybody. Zion, you drop Zion's link, drop your own links. Go ahead, man. Y'all can do that. Might try to sub up to your channels, man. Those guys make great content. You know what I mean? Deception, thanks for showing up again, man. I appreciate the support, bro. Philly B, you know you the homie, bro. Always, man. So just like I said, sub up to all these great guys, man. They do great work in the Giant community too, man. And it's your boy Mac the Giants fan. I'll see y'all for the True Blue preview on Sunday. Peace. Listening. If you was feeling this, please take time to subscribe and smack them likes. Feel free to drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to ring that bell so you know when I'm dropping new content. It's your boy, Mac the Giants fan. You can find me on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at Mac the Giants fan. That's MACDA Giants fan.